In the last few lectures, we created our first Airflow pipeline and ran it using Airflow UI. Guys, along with UI, Airflow also includes a command line interface that allow us to perform for many types of operations on a DAG. So in this lecture, we will try running some of our pipeline tasks in Airflow command line interface and see how they are carried out by Apache Airflow in backend. Running the same task in CLI will help you in connecting the dots between DAG tasks and Airflow. Basically, this lecture is to start getting you familiar with Airflow CLI. So let's hop into the PowerShell. I have my Docker services already up and running. Let us list the running containers. All three containers, Airflow, MySQL and Postgres are running. Please understand that right now I'm in normal PowerShell path. So we cannot directly start putting in the Airflow commands here. In order to work in Airflow CLI and to make our PowerShell start accepting the Airflow specific commands, first we need to open Airflow container in bash mode. To open Airflow in bash, type docker exe -it and then the Airflow container ID, which is this, and bash. Going through the command, this docker exe runs a new command in a running container whose container ID is this. IT stands for interactive, and then we have container ID on which this command will run. This is a unique container ID for each running container. And yes, instead of mentioning the full ID here, you can even mention the first few unique characters. Like, I can provide the ID till this much. It will work. And at last, we have bash to start a bash session. In a nutshell, this whole command will execute an interactive bash shell on Airflow container. Press enter. You can see the prompt has changed from our project folder directory to Airflow @container ID. It means that now we are in Airflow CLI. As long as we are in this path, it will only accept the Airflow commands. For proof, if I type docker ps, it says docker command not found because we are in Airflow container. Alright, so first of all, let's print the current working directory. This directory, you can say, is the home path of Airflow. And if you remember, in our store DAG file, we had passed every Airflow path starting with this particular path. If I show you its content, you can see inside it we have all files and directories. Like we have airflow.cfg file, then the mounted DAGs folder, then we have mounted SQL files and SQL files Airflow folder. If we go inside this folder, inside this folder, we have all the store files like raw, clean, location-wise, store-wise, they all are present. Basically all that stuff which was out there in our local store files folder. Alright, let's start running some of the tasks. In our DAG, first task T1 was to execute a bash command showsum to check if input file exists or not. Let's run the same command in Airflow CLI. Showsum and file name. Since in previous DAG run the file was renamed, so I will give the file name accordingly. The file was present, so it has the showsum value. Next, we had run a data cleaner function to clean the raw file, whose output is this file. After that, next a task T3 was to create a new MySQL table. And like I mentioned in earlier lecture, that MySQL runs on its own in a different container. So to run task T3 or to interact with MySQL database, we need to switch out of Airflow container and hop into the MySQL container. So exit from here. I will clear this. List the containers again. To enter in MySQL container, this time copy the MySQL container ID. Now we are into MySQL container with the username root. Let's log into it. MySQL hyphen username, which is root, then hyphen p. Enter the password, which is root. And welcome to the MySQL CLI. Before anything, let me first list the databases we have. Show databases. We have information schema, MySQL, performance schema, and sys. Use MySQL DB. Database changed. Let's get the tables in this MySQL database. And here it is. Our Airflow application table, clean stored transactions that we created with task T3. If you want, you can create a new table here with a new name. After the table creation part, at task T4, we loaded the clean data into this table. I have already shown that to you. We can just simply select the count of star. Yep, okay. After the data loading task, at task T5, we calculated the location and store-wise profit. I'll copy any of the select statement. Cool, we got the same results as that were in the CSV file. Similarly, you can try running the store-wise profit query also. So guys, that was a very short tour on how to access various containers for our first Airflow application. But this is not all. In the next lecture, we will have a tour of Airflow CLI and will discover generic Airflow specific commands.